Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. I'm Laurent Burin-Desrosiers. I'm the Cultural Council of the French Embassy and Director of the French Institute. I'm very pleased to welcome you here tonight for the launch of Diaphonique, a Franco-British fund created to support exchanges between our two countries in the field of contemporary classical music. The presentation brochure will give you a precise idea of the mechanisms involved, but in short, it is intended to support the presentation of contemporary composers, British in France, French in the UK, whose works should be made more accessible on both sides of the channel. I'm very pleased as we just start this new venture that we have been able to involve already so many important personalities of the contemporary music world. It is a great honor indeed to have tonight George Benjamin and Marc-André Blavy among us. They both accepted, as well as Pierre-Laurent Aymar, to be part of our honorary committee, and we are, of course, very honored of this acceptation. I would also like to thank all the people that have accepted to be part of our artistic committee, namely Graham Mackenzie of the Huddersfield Festival, Andrew Burke, director of the London Sinfonietta, and Andrew Korowski of the BBC Radio 3, and of the French side, Hervé Boutry, director of the Ensemble Intercontemporain, Marc-Olivier Dupin, music director of Radio France, Éric Denu of Universal Publishing, and Cyril Béros of IRCAM. Diaphonique, as some of you know, is born through a partnership between the SACEM, the French Institute, the Bureau Export, and has been generously supported from the start by a wonderful group of benefactors, the Friends of the French Institute. Some of them are here with us tonight, and I'm pleased to welcome them again. We are quite confident that other organizations will support this program, Culture France for sure, and hopefully the British Council, and we're also looking for new financial partners in the UK. I also would like to thank Françoise Claire, who has been the project manager of Diaphonique since the beginning, and whose great work has made possible the implementation of this interesting but difficult idea. Before giving the floor to some of our wonderful partners, starting with George Benjamin, I would like to recall that Marc-André Dabavy's new oboe concerto will be world premiered at the Barbican tomorrow at 7 p.m. by the BBC Symphony Orchestra with Alexei Oranchuk. The least I can say is that many of us are looking forward to hearing this new piece. And now, I thank you very much for your attention, and I will give the floor to George Benjamin.
What a wonderful project this is. How marvellous to think there's this substantial fund which will assist the performance of our composers in the British composers in France and the vice versa. It's a wonderful thing, and something which is so needed today where funds for contemporary music are not obvious, and in fact will be descending. So I really welcome this wonderful project with open arms. We in Britain have welcomed French music with open arms for centuries, and the greatest success of Berlioz was here in Great Britain, in his life, I believe, and Debussy and Ravel were welcomed with tremendous enthusiasm from the beginning of their careers, and that has continued across the magnificent tradition of French music throughout the 20th century and continues today. The relationship was not necessarily the same the other way round, though. And I have a sad tale to tell you of the director of the British Council in Paris in the 1980s going to see the director of French radio. And he said to the director of French radio, "Monsieur, we in the British Council have supported many British orchestras coming here to Paris, playing a wonderful French repertoire, and as you know, French music is played enormously in Great Britain. You have a contemporary music festival. It's been going for several years. Why, perhaps, would you not consider doing a festival dedicated to British music? We would help you." And the director of French radio looked at him and with great sincerity and seriousness said, "But monsieur, is there enough British contemporary music for a whole festival?" And that was the end of the discussion. But not everybody shared that attitude. I remember the day after Olivier Messiaen's 80th birthday, he was at the South Bank having heard a complete retrospective of his works, and it was the last night. And he gave a thank you speech to everybody, in which his final words were, this land used to be called the land without music, but having experienced the audiences and the conductors and the musicians of this country, I would like to say, this is the land with music. Someone whispered behind him in French, non, 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 il faut pas dire ça. And he said, non, non, je vais le dire. And he repeated it. Fortunately, the situation has changed considerably in the last 20, 30 years, and British music has a large profile, a surprisingly large profile on the French music scene, and French music continues to have a marvellous profile here in Great Britain. But there is still a vast amount of music we don't hear, and there's a vast amount of music that they don't hear as well in France. So I think this marvellous project will open doors for audiences and for composers in a wonderful way, and I wish it tremendous success, and my deep hope is that after its first 3 years, it will continue for 103 years.
Laurent a presque tout dit, et puis après, Georges Benjamin, c'est difficile d'intervenir, mais je dirais, comme élément principal pour moi, à la SACEM, qui a vécu la mise en place des deux précédents fonds, le fonds américain et le fonds allemand à Berlin, New York-Berlin. Ce qui m'a frappé et enchanté dans ce projet franco-britannique, c'est la rapidité avec laquelle on a pu le monter. Il faut quand même rendre hommage à la réactivité de l'ambassade, puisque c'est en février qu'on a commencé à évoquer cette perspective, et on est 8 mois après, 9 mois après, les choses sont lancées. Il faut aussi évoquer la réactivité de l'Association des Amis du Centre culturel de l'Institut français, qui a apporté d'emblée une caution et un engagement et un enthousiasme dans ce projet qui est vraiment très agréable. Et puis le bureau export. Le bureau export qui est de beaucoup d'aventures avec nous, et qui est encore sur ce projet diaphonique. Pour conclure, un mot en disant que c'est un projet tout à fait intéressant, innovant, parce qu'il associe des fonds publics, des fonds professionnels et des fonds de mécénat. Et donc je crois qu'on est là dans une configuration tout à fait adaptée à la situation d'aujourd'hui, et que ce projet est sûrement porteur de développement important dans les années à venir. En tout cas, c'est ce que nous souhaitons à la SACEM. Merci.
I'm Magali Clapier. I work for the Bureau Export as the head of classical music in Paris. And my colleague Patrice Sourbette has disappeared. No, he's over there. He's the director of the office in London. So we both worked a lot with Olivier and with Laurent and Laurent Sauer before you. And of course, the friends of the Institute. And we, as Olivier said, we are very glad that we could have launched this project so quickly, because it was not even 6 months. It started not even 6 months earlier. And this is quite a challenge, but I want to say, as Olivier said also, the German-French fund that we launched 2 years ago is now working very well. We have no German funds, so we are hoping, of course, the same for the British French fund, Diaphonique, and we'll work a lot on this. And this is quite a challenge, enthusiastic.
I'm Françoise Claire, and I'm in charge executively of the project. And so thank you so much for everyone to come tonight. Just a few things that you will find in the brochure, but to say that Diaphonique is aiming to give support to composers, to organizations wanting to commission some new pieces on both sides of the channel. And so we would like also to support new composers, young composers with bursaries, and we aim to work with conservatoire and music schools as well, and to help them to develop their young careers. So you will find all the details in the brochure, but just to say that I am at your disposal to give you any information, and please be in touch if you need any more information. Thank you.